Welcome to the KAYO Molly lineup guide, and in this guide I'll show you post-plant lineups, anti-Killjoy lineups, and even lineups out of stomp plants as well. If you don't know who I am, I'm a peak Radiant player, and I mainly play KAYO aggressively. And if you're also still new to KAYO and want to learn how to play them, you can check out my other videos. I explain all my plays in them, and you can learn from those videos. And also I play live on Twitch if you want to watch me play live. I go live on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sundays in the evenings PST. If you're in a game right now, this video will be timestamped for you guys, so for all the current maps up until Fracture and the new reworked ICEBOX. So you can skip to whatever map you're on right now and watch from there. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing because I will make a lot of KAYO content. And if you have any other questions about KAYO or anything, you can join my Discord too, link will be below, as well as my other socials. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. Okay, so we're on the first map, ASCENT. Now one thing you might notice that I never do post-plant lineups in my videos because I really don't like to use for post-plant because it's just the way I play. I like to use it to either stop pushes for my team or just other things. But anyway, if you want to learn post-plant lineups, here's one for here for default. You want to line up with this bike here. You want to look at this antenna with your crosshair and just throw it. And it should land perfectly on default. And if it's put next to the generator too, it'll still hit it, so you don't have to worry about that. So it's a pretty nice spot to throw it. Also, one thing I forgot to point out is that KAYO's molly has the same speed as a Killjoy molly. So if you're a Killjoy main, these lineups might be similar to you, or you can make up some of your own too. So these are just the common ones and easiest ones to do that are the best to do. Now let's say it's planted for the dice. You want to line up on this, stand on the ground. For if you want more reference, you look at this like line on the box, you should be completely lined up with it. And you want to look at this antenna, and you want to move it just like a little bit to like left here. I guess you could line it up with this little spike here in the sky. Just throw. And it will land perfectly on dice if you plan it for dice. And another thing, if you know how to do this thing where you throw it under the box, don't do it because it'll only hit people that are under. It won't hit people up top. As you can see, it's hitting me down here, but it's not doing any damage up here. So don't do that. Don't use your molly on that, just for reference. Now for the one you guys have been waiting for, the one to break Killjoy ults with, you line up with the generator. And you want to line up your second mouse on the right, this line on the building here, and these like two little wires as well. And you want to just aim it right here, and aim just a little bit down, not too much. Kind of eyeball it, and just throw. And it will land perfectly on the Killjoy spot. Also, if the Killjoy is up on this box, then you don't have to worry about it because it'll still break it anyway. And now another one. If you know they're gonna Killjoy A, like right here, usually is the usually common spot. You want to sit here in tree. You have to be careful that they don't push from cat. Maybe you have someone watching on your team. And you want to aim right here. This kind of leaf kind of makes a triangle right here. You can kind of see it from here. And you want to just figure your molly. Just throw it. And it will land on the orb if they're grabbing the orb, or the Killjoy will break here. But anyway, those are my lineups for A. Let's move on to B. Now, as you know, B, there's not really many post-plant lineups you could do. The best ones you could do are back here, but they're not as safe because you have to take a lot of time to run back B main. So one I like to do, this is kind of risky though, so you have to make sure that like they're all on site and you're like safe to do this. You want to line up with this wall because you can kind of tell because the garage door is here. Just line us up against this wall. Doesn't really matter how perfect it is. And you look at this hole in the wall on the building, and you just throw it right here. And it will bounce off this wall and land on default. I wouldn't do that one too much because most people check B main if you're there. So you kind of just want to do it only if it's like your last resort. Now, if they Killjoy retake for here, you line yourself up with this door here on this like pillar side. And you kind of just want to look up with your, use this gray as reference. You want to line up the right mouse, like kind of just like, so it's like perfectly in. And then you just want to do like a running throw. And it will bounce off the wall and hit right here and break the Killjoy. This one you have to be like really precise with because sometimes it could bounce off this building here and it can mess up your whole entire lineup. Now if you want to break a Killjoy that's either in the box or someone that's grabbing orb, You kind of just look here. You want to look in between these two bars and aim at this part so it doesn't bounce off and hit the window instead. You want to just throw it in. And it will land on the box. Or if they just planted, or if they put the ult like exactly in the corner, kind of just throw it in there too. Throw it in the corner. But anyway, those are my lineups that I like to use on ASCENT. Now let's move on to the next map. Okay, so on the next map, Split. There's not many lineups here, but I'll show you a couple that can be done. So for the first one, you want to take, this is to break a Killjoy if they ever plant it from here. You want to aim the line between the knife and your ult right here. So it should look like this. You just go, and it will bounce off the board and land in here. That's the most safe Killjoy break you can do, because if they do happen to be running onto site, you have time back here to throw it and break it. That's a pretty safe one. Now, I know this isn't a molly lineup, this is the knife lineup I like to do. A few of you have been asking how to do this. So you just line up with this box here at the start of the game. You can kind of just prep yourself. Kind of want to, you're aiming for this box here. So if you want, you're going to look up to this beam. You look at the top and you go just a little bit down. Do a jump throw. That way, it will land on top of this grass plant here, and that way it's harder to break for other people that are playing on site, so it's not as easy to break. And it'll catch most people off guard, and it'll cover all of site except for this back part and the flower pot in here. That's the only things you have to clear. Now, this is a post-plant lineup you can do for default. Want to line up with this line here on the ground. Kind of see with the stool. If you want to line yourself up with default, you look at the stool. You look up at this top leaf here, and you want to go a little bit above it with your Crosshair. Do a jump throw. And it will land on default. I don't really like to do post-plant lineups on Split, because it takes a while to get back, plus people might most likely clear you. So only do it if you really have to. Now, these aren't really the lineups, but if you just want to like play safe B main and play for bomb, I just sit behind this box and look right here and just do a quick run throw. Stop them from defusing. Or if you just want to stop them from defusing the one planted for you, you just throw it right there and line your top Crosshair with this plate here on the building. Now those are all my lineups that I would use for Split. Let's move on to the next map. Okay, so now we're on the map Fracture. Now this map's a little bit different for lineups, because lineups like on A site, it's kind of hard to throw lineups, especially if you planted under. But I do have some lineups for you that you can use for default. It'll still work. Now for this first one, it's kind of risky. If you're in SENS here and you know they're defusing while you're trying to push up, you can look at this top of the building right here. Just throw. And it will land right on defuse. Now another one you can do is from drop out also, but you have to be aware of A main as well. Peeky from A main. You just want to look at this beam here. And you just want to throw it like in the middle. And it will also land default. Now for B, if you plant it on the double boxes here, like anywhere around here, you can look at this tree twig right here. Look right here. Throw. It will land right on the boxes. Now, if you want to line up for here, you're gonna have to go all the way to arcade. So from arcade, you want to stand on this plant here in this corner, and you want to line up your HP like line thing with this part of the light here. So it should look like this. You just want to throw. It will land right on default. Now that lineup's good to do because you can just throw your lineup. You can just like flash to the left here. Start walking up tower here. After your molly goes away, You can flash peek again if you have another flash, or you can just peek. They won't expect it because you flashed from arcade as well.
"30 seconds left."
Okay, so this is actually being recorded after I recorded the fracture video. I found a new lineup, and it's pretty crazy actually that not too many people know about. So this lineup, you basically want to stand like here in the middle of this painting here. You want to line yourself up in the middle so you can use this line for reference. You kind of want to stand on this line too. And you kind of just want to stand like in the middle. You want to stand in the middle of it. But you want to look at this stain here, kind of just look at the top of it. And ping this for reference too. You want to ping here. Just want to throw it here. This will land in a really, really weird spot. It will land right on the edge, and it'll hit anyone under. So you could hit people planning here, and it's a really crazy lineup. But it does take some practice, so I would recommend going and do a custom game to practice this a little bit. But yeah, this one will get some practice. It's a really crazy lineup that not too many people know about. It'll go on the top and bottom, so it's absolutely crazy. So definitely want to use this if you want to try to stop people from planning. So it's really good. Now those are all the lineups I have for Fractured. There's not too many you can really do, but let's move on to the next map. Okay, now we're on the map Bind here. We have a couple lineups here. So for the first one, for default, you want to stand back here. You want to stand in this corner. You want to look at this big leaf and this small leaf. You want to look in the middle of it and just throw. Land perfectly on default. Now another one you can do is stand on this line and back up into this wall. If it's say it's planning for a triple here, you can just look at this diamond here on the building in the middle and just throw. And it will land perfectly on triple. Those are probably say the best lineups you could do for A site. Now let's move on to B site. Okay, so for this lineup, you want to stand on this rock along here. See this little cylinder thing here? You want to look at the bottom left of it. Doesn't really matter like how accurate you are with it. You kind of just look in the corner. You just throw. And it will land right on default. Now another one you do is back up into this corner. You look at this part of the building here and aim a little bit up. Do a jump throw. This one will also land on default. Personally, I would do the rock ones. I don't really like jump throws, plus they take much longer than just normal throws, so just do the first one. Now, if you want to do a lineup to break a Killjoy out that's say planted here, you could stand in this corner here. This one's a little bit more difficult to explain, but once you get where it is, you can kind of just go off it. You want to aim your like HP like line thing with this part of the building. As you can see, I'll zoom on it now. You want to aim there, or you want to aim the green part where your molly is on the top of this like cylinder thing. So it should look like this, and you just want to throw. And it will land on the Killjoy spot. And it will also land on the orb too if you're trying to grab orb. But if you just want to take the safe route and don't have to worry on a lineup, just have your team smoke off hookah and long, and you can just bounce it off this wall here. And it will break the ult. Okay, so you might have seen me do this lineup before in a video, but I don't really know how to do it perfectly, but I mostly just stand here a little bit away from this crate. You kind of just want to, you can ping for reference here where default is. You just want to look up and aim your like spike on their flash icon with the crate. Now you just want to jump running through. And it will land somewhere around default, like that. I don't really perfect it too much. Sometimes it goes in a whole other direction on site, but you kind of get the idea, and you can kind of practice that a few times if you want to custom game. But those are all the lineups I have for Bind. Let's go to the next map. Okay, now we're on the map Breeze. Now, there's not really many you can do here, and there's only two that I know how to do, but I don't really do them since it's not really worth it. But if you do want to know them anyway, this will be one for if it's planted here. I'm going to line up with this big beam here. Now you want to take your arrows with your ability where your mice are, and you want to line it up with the middle of that window. I can zoom on it now, and all you do is just jump through. It will land perfectly on the pyramid. Now here's for another one if it's planted default. You see this plank here, you want to move just like next to it. You want to take your molly, you want to look at this part of the building, and you want to just go a little bit to the left. You can kind of ping for reference too. Just right here, just a little bit to the right, and do a jump throw. And it will land perfectly on default. Now, if you want to stop them from playing, this is a quick little lamp you can do from backside. You kind of just line up with the corner of the box here and this line right here on this wall. If you want to take out your molly, look at the top and just do a running throw. Now bounce off the wall and try to stop them from playing. But anyway, those are all my lineups for Breeze. Let's move on to the next map. Okay, so now we're on the next map, ICEBOX. Now there's a couple lineups that I would like to do here. Kind of just back yourself here. You gotta make sure that no one can push maze here. But you want to line up with this line here. You want to take your molly and you see this line that goes like this. You want to aim it in the middle right here. It will land perfectly on default and around here. Now another one you could do is you can kind of just line yourself here with the bomb in this beam here. So it should look like this. And you want to get ready to do a throw, and you're going to throw it on the generator. It'll bounce off and land on default. Okay, now if you want to stop them from planning, you can line up with this line here on screens. You can also line up with this line too. You look up to this tile here. It should be right next to this, so you can kind of indicate it. You want to go a little bit up, just a tad bit less than half up way the tile. Just throw. It should be enough to bounce off the roof and land perfectly on default. Now here's another line you can do to stop plant. You want to sit in this corner here. You want to use your indicator as this corner of the crane, and this star right here you can kind of just see a little bit here on the map. You want to line it up between the two, like it should look like this, and you just want to do a jump, and it should land right on the new default. Now for post plant on B, there's not really much you can do now because you'd either have to go all the way back here, and right here doesn't really work anymore either with all the cranes and stuff in the way. In this corner, look halfway on this like diamond right here. You want to look up and go barely above this crate. Just throw. And it will land on default. And those are all the lamps I like to do on ICEBOX. Let's move on to this last map. Alright, so one of my favorite maps for KAYO is Haven, and we have a lot of lamps to cover here. Okay, so for the first lamp here, you want to get in these bags here. You want to look at this roof right here in the corner. And throw. And it will land right on default. Okay, now if you want to stop the plant, get in this corner here where the barrel is in this corner. You should be kind of just locked in here. You want to use this window here as your indicator, like this middle part of the window. You want to look up from it, and you should see right here the roof, like these blue beams here. You want to line it up with that, like right in the middle. I'll move to the right a little bit so you don't hit the top part, and just throw. Not too hard to remember when you get it down, but it lands perfectly on default. And now the lineup you guys have been waiting for that you've seen me do. You want to stand here where this little beam is. You want to look up here. You want to use your mice as an indicator. And see this little cylinder thing here? You want to aim the arrow and the mice just in the middle like this. It should look like this. You just want to throw. And this will land perfectly here in the corner. And it'll break a Killjoy. Now here's a lineup you can do from short that'll also break a Killjoy. I don't use it, but if you don't have any time to get to default and it's like blocked off, you can just stand here in this corner. You want to take your crosshair here on this wooden part here. You want to aim it right here in the middle. You want to go up a bit, and then you want to aim it right here, just before you hit this part here, and you just want to throw it. And it will land in a similar spot. Now for B, I wouldn't recommend doing this one in case someone's pushed up window as well, because it takes a while to get back, but you want to just get back here and spawn. You see these circles here, you want to make them into about half circles, and you want to take your crosshair and look at this beam right here, the one that's second to the left here, and you just want to jump in. And it will land on the left side. Or you could do the same thing and aim it to the right if it's planted in the middle to get more damage off. Now for C, for post plant, you can get in this corner. You can take your crosshair and look at this mountain right here, and look right here. Just throw. It will land right here on default. Now if you want to stop the plant, you can also get in a similar corner from A. You can see it in this corner right here, next to this box. And now you want to line yourself up with this like door line right here. You want to go up. And you see this little spike coming out of the roof here. You want to go up a bit so it's like in the little indent part. And you just throw. and it will land right perfectly on default stop plant. Now, you may have seen Killjoy's also ult here too. I do have a lineup for that too. You want to look at this crate here, and you see these diamonds here. You want to look at these diamonds, so line yourself up in the middle. You want to stand right here on this part. You want to look up at these leaves, and you want to go a little bit up, so your should go on the third leaf here.
Throwing charge.
And it should land perfectly inside this cubby here. You could also use that lineup too if anyone's just sitting in cubby, you want to force them out and you can't really get back here. You can just kind of come over here and just throw that lineup. Alright, me again. I just recorded the Haven lineups. I just found another one, so I'm going to show it to you guys. The first you want to stand back here. This is for an anti-Killjoy ult. Let's say it's like here. You stand in this corner. You have to be in this corner. You want to look at this part of the building here, so it should be right here. You want to look at this, put your crosshair here, and do like a quick running jump throw, so it should look like this. It doesn't matter how accurate it is, it'll bounce off the wall, and it'll land perfectly right here. I just want to show that quick lineup. I already recorded the Haven video, but just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Hey guys, I just finished editing the Molly lineup video. I hope this helped you a lot. If it did, please consider subscribing and sharing to other people that would like to see it. And also, I'm going to be streaming soon, so go follow my Twitch. You can follow my Twitch in the description. All my socials will be there as well. And hope this helped you out. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which should probably be next week. But yeah, see you guys.
Yeah, it's Japanese Great, and he's pretty cool. He plays Valorant, Shotgun Omen. Yeah, Japanese Great on the beat. Yeah.